Hey everybody! Thanks for coming to the channel. Today we got some big news. The first what if character in Lord of the Rings Heroes of Middle-earth. Now, for those of you not familiar, when the game launched, and if you pay attention to any of the campaign modes, our character, the ring we get in the beginning of the game, supposedly shatters Middle-earth into a bunch of multiverses where anything is possible. And that's one of the big selling points, was to see what they were going to do, how they were going to adapt Tolkien's writings in a what-if scenario that made sense and was also cool and entertaining. And this was something that I kind of was not expecting to be as exciting as it is, but let's just go ahead and get into it because this is pretty cool. So this month is the Lord of Moria's month, and it specifically features Balin, part of Thorin's company, and he led the expedition to retake Moria, the failed expedition that we see in the Fellowship of the Rings. But let's just get right into this news post because there's a whole bunch of stuff to get to. So let's get going. In the Lord of the Rings Heroes of Middle-earth, they've always intended to explore the what-ifs of the Lord of the Rings lore. In our first exploration, we asked the question, what if Balin's expedition to retake Moria hadn't failed and he instead restored Moria to a glorious dwarven kingdom? Well, this looks cool, friends. I mean, let's be honest. I didn't think they were going to make Balin look cool, and I'll show you why towards the end of the video, but that looks cool. Moving on ahead. Due to our ring of power being forged, multiple realities have been shattered and awoken. In some of these, we have seen our shadowy figure sowing chaos, attempting to break the fabric of Middle-earth. However, Erendil has found a story where, through good deeds and selflessness, the story of Middle-earth has culminated into pure, greater heroes of the land. In this alternate timeline, Balin's troop instead crosses through Lorien, which they avoided in the books, the elven realm where Celebrimbor and Galadriel are, where the Fellowship takes refuge after escaping Moria. And on their expedition, they make the choice to assist the Lorien Elves by fighting orcs that would seem to encroach upon the Woodland realm. This leads to a cascade of events that culminates in that fateful moment for Balin at the Mirrormere. For those of you not familiar, the Mirrormere is like this lake outside of Moria on the eastern side, and it's like super clear, and it has a lot of symbolism to the dwarves and the first dwarf king, and it's really interesting stuff. We won't dive too deep into it here, but it's a pretty impactful thing for dwarven leaders to look into the Mirrormere. And then using our ring of power, following along with Balin as he makes these small choices that will forever change his fate. And it goes on to say, Lord Balin might have claimed the throne in Moria in his timeline, but that doesn't mean his conflicts are over. Having to battle through orcs and other deep-dwelling denizens of Moria, he leads his people on and ensures their survival. So I guess the timeline he's coming from, he survives, and he is able to start to transform Moria instead of instantly being overwhelmed by orcs and goblins, and he's able to get some help in the form of these elf characters we're going to be getting from the Woodland realm. And before we scroll too much further and read on about them, there's not a lot said, but they do seem to be drawn from the books. I haven't double-checked the names, but we'll kind of talk about where these characters come into play. And it's really cool because they have some dwarven arms and armor that are part of this what-if storyline as well. So these are characters that are much lesser noted. I don't even know if they're named in the book per se, but they are important, and they're going to get kind of a come up in this game, which is really cool. So they drop the names at the bottom, which is Rumiel and Orofin, which I think at least Orofin is mentioned in the Fellowship. I'm not sure about Rumiel. I have to go back and check. But it says here that little is known about the Sylvan brothers of Lothlorien. However, along with their sibling Haldir, which is the guide we do know of from the Fellowship, they guarded the border of Lorien. Armed with gifts of a dwarven shield and a pair of legendary dwarven axes, these siblings are as fearsome alongside their dwarf allies as they are fighting beside their own kin. As always, players will be able to check out the character kits for Lord Balin, Rumiel, and Orofin, along with their adventure details. Keep an eye out for those articles and others here on the website for Lord of the Rings Heroes of Middle-earth. So, wow, this is cool. So not only is this what if spinoff getting us a really cool looking Balin to play around with, we're also going to get two of our guides from the Fellowship through Lothlorien. The one that they really hammer home, that does most of the speaking in the book when he's guiding the hobbits and the Fellowship through the forest to meet Galadriel and Celebrimbor, is Haldir. And that's the one in the movies where he dies at the Battle of Helm's Deep. Spoiler alerts if you're in the year 2023 and haven't seen the Lord of the Rings trilogy and you're playing this game, I would question what you're doing with your life. But yes, in the movies, they have Haldir die at the Battle of Helm's Deep. It doesn't happen in the books, so we'll see how that what if changes things too. But these look really neat. They look like they'll be fun kits. It doesn't say that any of them are tied to the raids, so they're probably, hopefully, fingers crossed, all going to be marquee characters. And this would be one step closer to finishing off a good solid team of 5 dwarves. Probably going to have some cool leadership abilities. Really excited to see this kit. And then as an added bonus, we're going to get a couple cool elves. These will be Woodland Elves, so it seems like they're going to network with like Naramiri and Miriel and Legolas, so that'll flush out that team too. So we'll get 2 teams out of this month, fully fleshed out, and I'm really excited to see what these kits look like. That being said, just a little reminder of those of you who maybe didn't read the books, or maybe you read the Lord of the Rings or saw the movies, but you never went back and got the Hobbit. Balin was kind of like the royal vizier to Thorin Oakenshield. He was like the royal advisor, the guy who, was in charge of making sure everything went according to plan and helping make sure that their journey went smoothly. And he was kind of like Thorin Oakenshield's second in command. And after the Battle of the Misty Mountains, Battle of the 5 Armies at the Erebor, that's the mountain they come from. At the Battle of Erebor and the 5 armies. After that, years later, it's explained in the Fellowship that he goes on to Moria to try to retake that lost dwarven realm as well. And as we know from the books and the movies, it didn't go so well for him. So he narrowly escaped Smaug and thought it was a great idea to try again. That said, for those of you who might not know visually who I'm speaking of, this is the guy from the movies that you're thinking of. So like if you go back and watch The Hobbit, this is what he looks like. It's actually, I really love the glow up, I'm not going to lie. And I love the royal touch they give to him. I bet you he has Durin's axe, because that was mentioned in the books. There's a legendary axe of Durin, the first king of the dwarves, like the first to awaken of the dwarven people. And I guarantee you he's got Durin's axe. It's gonna be really cool to play around with. So that being said, everybody, that's it. Just a quick news update today. I hope everyone had a blast hanging out with us on the channel. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment down below. What do you think about these new what if characters? Who do you want to see come to Heroes of Middle-earth next? What if or otherwise, just canon characters, let me know. That's going to be some more video content coming out for us in the future. We've got some fun things planned for the channel. But that said, everyone, thanks again for coming out. Have a great day. Keep on gaming, and we'll see you in Middle-earth.